Calibrating cybernetics.
Talk to him now.
AT, Andre.
Come on, Dre.
Yep. Trippin with Let's Go. Woo! Trippin with Theobold.
What's your name?
Theo so bold.
Yeah.
Driggity. Let's go. Trippin with Theobold. Trippin.
What are we doing?
Trippin with Theobold.
Come on, Dre.
Yo, mic check 1 2. We on. Testing 1 2. Hey, what's going on, everybody? Welcome to another episode of Trippin with Theobold. I'm your host, Andre Theobold. Welcome to the show. Glad you could tune in. Before we go any further, make sure you guys hit that like button. Make sure you guys hit that subscribe button. Tell a friend to tell a friend. And do all that fun internet stuff like the old people say. AT is where it's at on most forms of social media. So follow me. So boom. So before I get into it, man, I want to apologize for not having an episode last week. You know, the tragedy of the fires kind of happened around then. I wasn't affected directly. But I just felt I was in a weird headspace, man. You know, just I was back east visiting my mom, helping my mom out with stuff around the house. And I just kind of saw everything via the news, you know, and first and foremost, man, thoughts and prayers to the families that lost people, houses, or whoever were affected, you know, by the tragic fires. It's a real tough time, man. You know, I was having this thought, man, where I was like thinking to myself, like, you know, even if the people that, you know, even the people or even the victims that lost their house or property in the tragic California fires, you know, had their house rebuilt overnight, it still like doesn't, you know, replace the memories that were built in that house. You know, it's kind of like that Luther Vandross song, you know, a house is not a home, you know? So it's like, it's like the memories and the people within the house make a home, you know what I'm saying? So people lost houses, but they also lost homes, you know? So, yeah, man. So thoughts and prayers to all, those that were affected by the California fires. Also, I want to give a shout out to people that are or that have used their social media platform to help. You know, that's why you haven't seen me on social media like that and whatever. I'm not really big on social media anyway, but I mean, I just felt weird. You know, it's like, you know, people need water. You know, not people don't need likes. We need water. You know, and the basics to help people, you know, cope with this. But now shout out to like some comedian friends of mine that use their social media platform to help, you know, like basically like for example, like Vonda Carlo, you know, she, you know, was at the donation places and she was basically saying like giving you updates on what people needed or what they wanted, right? Like she was at one volunteer location where she was like, hey, look, we don't need any more clothes. We got enough clothes. We need water, Gatorade, and, you know, like Red Bull for the firefighters, you know? So, you know, just doing that, you know, kind of helped, you know, get the word. Like, I like seeing people use social media like that, you know? So I'm more of in a follower mode when it comes to that. Like, I'm just gonna, like I said, if I see someone that needs help, I'm just gonna go get them the help that they need. And that made me also think about something else, man. It made me think about, you know, if the firefighters that are fighting need water and Gatorade and, you know, Red Bull and stuff like that. You know, where was Amazon at? You know, because I did an Amazon check. You know, I just did a test to see, like, hey, if I ordered something, you know, if they would still deliver it. Because to me, it's like, what should have happened for Southern California is like, if you need something from Amazon, it's like, yo, you got to wait, man. Right now, we got a priority, right? The priority needs to be to getting stuff to people that are fighting the fires and getting stuff to people that need stuff to survive every day, you know? So I felt kind of weird about that, you know? But right now, I looked at the Watch Duty app, that the fires are pretty much contained, you know, but now comes the rebuild portion, or the rebuild part, you know. So gonna do an episode, not sure when yet, but I'm gonna do an episode where you know, because as you guys know, this channel is called Trippin with Theobold. We trip in speech and we trip in thought, you know. And I had just a crazy idea, like, this is an open think tank, you know. Like, yeah, we can't control when fires are started, but we can, in my belief, and I don't know shit, you know, we can, like, mitigate fires to the best of our abilities. And we got all this technology. To me, it's like, you know, with all these, like, with all this technology and resources at our disposal, there's no reason why we can't contain fires better, you know. So I have an idea for a, you know, I'm putting my engineering skills to use. You know, I see a problem, so I'm like, hey, let me come up with a solution. But I have an idea for a fire suppression system for California. You know, it may cost billions of dollars, you know, but I mean, it's just a wild idea I have in my head. I got to flesh out the ideas more, but once I flesh them out, I'll probably have diagrams, draw everything out. And, you know, who knows, maybe a philanthropist or someone, or a billionaire might come along and take the idea and run with it. Great. Who knows? I might become a billionaire and I might be able to implement it myself. You know, who knows? That's why the show is called Trippin with Theobold, man. We just putting ideas out there, man, to make sure that, you know, some people think about things, but they don't let them out to the surface. I let my thoughts out to the surface because I am not ashamed of my ignorance. Because ignorance is just the lack of knowledge. Ignorance means you don't know something, right? I had a stochastic processes professor back when I was in college, and his quote is one of his quotes that he always said every day is, never be ashamed of your ignorance, because you don't know what you don't know, right? So that's that. So today's episode is the 2024 performance evaluation. Today's episode is the 2024, or my 2024 performance evaluation, where I hold myself accountable for all the things I said I was going to do. So, you know me, I'm gonna start off with a grade, and then I start off with the negatives, and then I build myself up, and then I go with lessons learned. Okay, so to kick things off, I give myself, from last year, for everything I said I was going to do, I give myself a D. Like, a D just seems like what it should be, you know? It's a D. I give myself a D, you know? Yeah, I'm hard on myself. But I give myself a D because just that's what I mean, I feel like some things that I learned from last year when it came to my goals was I tried to do everything every day. Like, I had a lot of stuff I wanted to get done, and I had a lot of stuff I wanted to accomplish. And like, at first I was hitting every day. Every day I would have my spreadsheet up. I was going through tracking things, you know, and then, you know, other priorities came up, and then I faded. And even when I looked at my calendar, right, my wall calendar, I had like all my X's and things on my calendar. And in the first quarter to 1/3 of the year, man, my calendar was marked up. Everything was, I was reaching my goals, then I start fading, and then I lost steam at the end, you know. So let me just start off with, like, at the top, what I need to do is I need to spend an hour a day journaling what success looks like, you know. Like, yeah, we can dream at night about stuff, we can dream all this stuff, but a lot of times when you like think about, like, what does success really mean for me, if I journal that out every day, for at least an hour or up to an hour, I think I'll be surprised with the results. I think I'll be surprised with my mindset and just what all I think I can accomplish. Um, Also, high level thing that I need to do, like, kind of like lessons learned, is I need to have monthly focuses, right? Because I used to, last year, and you'll see when I went through my goals or whatever. But last year, I tried to tackle stand up, acting, writing, and I would try to do these things all in one day. And it's like, if you move around that much every day, you're gonna get fatigued. You're gonna get tired. You know, um. So yeah, so that's one thing I learned too. So now I'm gonna have monthly focuses, and then from a financial standpoint, um, sorry, I keep hearing these little taps on my wall in my apartment, and don't mind them. Look, you might not be able to hear the taps on my wall, but these are my neighbors over here struggle smashing. Like, um, they be smashing like 2, 3 times a day, and their headboard be right against my wall, and um, yeah, he be struggle smashing his chick. You know, he be struggle smashing. Because the headboard is right against because his headboard is right against my wall, and when he's smashing his chick, the headboard is like tapping the wall lightly. Like, it's not like they're putting together IKEA furniture in that bitch. Yeah, I think they still smashing over there. You know, um, uh, like like when they smash, it sound like Morse code and shit on my wall. Like, dit 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 dash 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 dit dit dit. It's just whatever. I get annoyed because when I sit down and I'm focusing, I'm trying to stay focused on my pod. Now they decide they want to go fuck. But okay, whatever, cool, whatever. That's life. You know. Anyways, um, uh, one thing I started doing too, um, at the end of last year, which was a few weeks ago, is I do a financial. This is for my finances, right? Basically, I shoot a video for 1 minute where I just say my age, I list how much debt I have, I say, like, how much I have in savings, and then I come up with my net worth. And I'm just doing an experiment, playing around with, yearly, like, tracking my yearly success. Anyways, let's go ahead and jump into why I got a D for my performance evaluation of myself last year. So, stand-up goal, my goal last year, my long-term goal was to my long-term goal was to basically, which is the 3 to 5 year plan, or the 5 years or longer plan, is to shoot a special, right? I want to shoot a comedy special, not next month or next week or next year, but just, to me, you have to begin with the end in mind, right? You can't just be getting up, doing jokes, going to shows, doing shows, and when you feel ready, say, okay, let me go shoot my special. Nah, I'm starting with the end in mind. I'm starting with a future date, and I'm working backwards from that, you know? So last year, some short-term goals or medium-term goals that I was supposed to have done to get me closer to my long-term goal was, I was supposed to hit up Temple University alcove, to find out how much it costs to rent, you know, the alcove, which is one place I want to shoot a special at, because that's I want to do specials that were incremental or specific to my points in comedy in my career. All right. So for example, Camp Blue Ridge at the Campfire Bowl, Camp Blue Ridge, Piano Lounge in Cedar Rapids, Iowa. Those are 3 distinct moments in my comedy career where, it would be cool to go back and shoot a special at each of those places. Um, so I was supposed to have called Camp Blue Ridge, and I was supposed to have, got an estimate for how much it costs and how far in advance can I book this and that. I didn't do any of that, so that's why, for my stand-up goal, my stand-up long-term goal, that's why I give myself a D. Not just, I give myself a D in all my goals, but I did some things, but I didn't do like everything that I wanted to do. So, one way I'm going to improve on that this year is, my stand-up goal. Like I said, my long-term stand-up goal is to shoot and to produce my own special. So now what I'm doing differently this year is I have monthly focuses, right? So this month is stand-up. Next month is going to be for my documentary / mockumentary. March is going to be for my pilot / screenplay, and my fourth one is going to be for, or my fourth goal, or my fourth month. We'll get to that when I get to it. But basically, I'm going to have 4 rotating monthly goals to where when I sit down for a month, I want to say, okay, let me start off and let me just roll my sleeves up and see what I can get done for the month, and then have a leave off, or have a point where I leave off at. And when I have a point that I can leave off at, put that to the side, get on the next one, right? So that way I'm not like looking at one thing too long, and I'm not on one thing for too short. I feel like a month to kind of figure out where I want to go and to actually get some work done is a good, or it's a better approach in my opinion. Or we will see if it's a better approach. But if you do the same thing over and over again and expect a different result, that's insanity. So I'm not doing the shit. I'm not doing the shit the way I did last year. I'm doing the difference, what I'm trying to say. All right. So, one thing that I started doing for this month for my stand-up long-term goal is I created a questionnaire where I'm just asking myself all these questions, like, for example, why do I want to shoot a special? Where is it going to be shot at first? How much is it going to cost? How much should I have in the budget? Who do I want to help me out with this? Who can help out? Like, I'm going through the questionnaire process because I feel like questions are the answers. The more questions you ask and the more you answer them, they become the answers. And now you have everything you need, or the knowledge you need, to move forward. All right. So, that's that. A positive in my stand-up goal was, this is kind of like the curveball, right? So basically what happened was I had a comedian friend of mine who's like, to me, he's in my top 5 easily right now. And he reached out to me last year with the opportunity to write with him or to get tutelage from him. I got some tutelage from him. So my effort was really on that. And I had an audition at the Laugh Factory, which it went good for all intents and purposes, but still it's like that took up a lot of my time just working with him, and yeah, so I definitely see a lot of improvement with my process. A lot of it was, just getting back to the regiment and just getting back to having a process for how we come up with material and how we bookmark or keep track of material and grow material, right? It's an ongoing thing, so that's a positive. What else? I think I learned in general is just like last year, I would say I was trying to hit a home run too much. I was trying to hit that perfect shot, and really it's like you got to get messy, you got to be ugly, you got to not be afraid to mess up. It's kind of like when you get help with a math homework assignment, right? Or when you're getting math tutoring, if you go to the tutor with a blank sheet of paper, you're not going to learn nothing because the tutor is just going to write everything on the paper and you're not going to know what you didn't know. But if you go there and no matter how crazy it is, if you go there with something on a piece of paper, the tutor can then look at what you did and be like, yeah, nah, why did you do this? No, you want to do that. Right. So that's what I have to do a better job of. Last year, when it came to acting, I had a goal. My goal for last year for the whole year was to do 5 on-camera auditions. And guess how many I did? So the acting coach I was working with the year before last year, because I didn't even go back. I didn't do any acting classes last year because I did a writing course and I did a stand-up and I got tutored from a stand-up comedian or whatever. So, you know, that shit costs bread and it takes time and effort. So I didn't go back to the acting class that I was in for 2023. Great acting school, but I feel like I'm gonna take a pivot, and there's another acting coach I'm gonna get down with that they already kind of know who I am already, you know, so it's kind of like everything is set up. I just have to follow through with it, but they actually get results, you know, like part of an acting class, in my opinion, needs to be, you need to go submit for stuff, you know, like there's, like I said, there are pros and cons with acting classes, right? Like I've taken like a few acting classes from a few different coaches, and like no class was bad, you know, because there's a lot that I didn't know, you know, and I learned a lot. But one thing that I didn't get from the other classes is, hey, you got to put yourself out there, you know, fall on your face and just see what the process is, right? Like that should be part of the homework, you know. So this coach, you know, they pride like themselves on, or part of their metric of success is how many of their students get booked for stuff, you know, and that's one thing I saw on their site. So this year I'm gonna run the gauntlet on that acting coach, and hopefully I can, you know, at least just get in line to fail, right? I mean, you don't want to, I mean, I don't want to do this to fail, but I want to just, I just want to be like, hey, look, I went on these auditions and I failed, and I know what it is and I know why I failed. You know, I don't want to be like, oh man, how do I even get into an audition? How do I even go submit? Because part of the problem is, you know, with the age that we're in-person auditions aren't, from what I've heard, in-person auditions aren't really like a thing anymore. I mean, they do them, but really they want to see like your on-tape auditions, right? Which means that you got a green screen and you got a camera and boom, here's some lines. And if you don't know how to set that up and get the right, like there's a lot of intricacies to that, you know, and the one coach I had before does it, but at the same time, it's like, I don't want to just do that and not submit for anything, you know? So I'm going to do this other acting coach. And then, you know, once I finish that, you know, next goal is to then get to the on tape one, to just kind of get everything, I guess, perfected. But I'm going to go with this new coach to see, like, you know, what happens, you know, like I need to get more practical experience in the field as opposed to theoretical. That's what it is. My other acting coaches were all theory, and theory is great. You need it, but I wasn't getting enough practical, meaning like, yo, you need to get some real life experience with this, you know? So that's that. So really I would say for acting, I would give myself an NA or an incomplete, because, you know, due to writing and taking the stand-up course that I was in or whatever, it's like I didn't have time for all that and also maintaining a 9 to 5. So that's that. My goal for last year when it came to writing was to it was to have a whole draft completed of a pilot and or a screenplay. My short-term goal for last year was to pick a log line and then finalize it or whatever. I didn't even come up with a log line, right? Or my goal was to have a log line by February 2024. I just had a spreadsheet of ideas of log lines, but I didn't narrow it down to one log line. So with respect to that goal, I came up significantly short of that goal. However, two other things that were positive from this area is one, I got with I formed a writing group. Or I'm part of a writing group now, and we have a contract. I really can't go into the details, but we came up with an actual pilot, and we're writing, and right now we're actually working on the actual lines for a series. So we're making progress on that, but the goal is to get it and then to flip it, make money off of that, and then use that for another project that we're working on. So that's a success in and of itself. And then in addition to that, I had a comedian friend of mine who is deep in the writing game. Like, he writes for a lot of network TV shows. I basically I took his course, or I am taking his course, and basically there's opportunity to get a tap on the shoulder to write on his staff if he gets picked up for a major gig, right? So with all things being said, I think with the writing part, I think that, even though I didn't write and come up with my own pilot or screenplay, I feel like I've made advances and strides in the writing field area, right? So goals for this year for writing is to, one, is finish this course that I'm currently in. And then two, my goal for this year is to just pick a log line and then write a series, write a pilot and a screenplay for it. I just got to do something, so it's going to be a log line that I'm just going to flesh out and just go with it, and see what I can come up with. That's the goal for the year. But long-term goal is to like write and produce like my own series and or screenplay. That's long-term. That's my long-term goal, 5 years from now. So like I said, I'm going to be rotating these major efforts month to month. So I think I'm going to have better traction if I do that. Now fitness, right? Man, I got to improve on my blood work, man. Like last time I went to get my physical, man, I was overweight. Blood work wasn't what it needed to be. Getting overweight, getting older. So I'm not making no goddamn Olympics, so I need to just, like, all those crazy workouts I was doing before, I need to just go ahead and chill with that shit. I just need to eat right, instead of goldfish, I'm eating trail mix now, trail mix, hopefully this can be an improvement. What else? I got to get back on the stair climber. I haven't been on the stair climber since like November, October. Man, goal is just to walk to the gym, do my stairmaster for 20 minutes, do my planks, maybe hit some weights every now and again. But I got to make sure that my when I go back and get my physical, that my numbers have increased. I'm eating more salads, more greens, so I feel better. You know, blood pressure down, all that and the above. So yeah, I got to stay on top of that. I got to do better. Um, for my Trippin with Theobold podcast, which is what you're watching right now, I feel like we've come I feel like we've come a long way, but we got a longer way to go. Got a long there is no destination, right? It's a journey. So last year, one of my goals with Trippin with Theobold or this podcast was to come up with a channel trailer that really hit home and articulated what this channel was about. I ain't do that shit. You know what I'm saying? So I got to get that done this year. Didn't do that. I just need a short snippet, like a 1-minute promo video where people, when they come to my channel, they know what they signing up for. So that's something I got to do this year. It's doable. Just got to do it. What else? Something else that I want to do is I want to come up with a shorthand logo for my podcast. Right now, I got as you guys can see here, I think it is or here. I'm not looking at myself right now. But I want to have a shorthand logo or a shorthand notation for my logo, so people, when they see it, they can associate it with the other one, right? It's like in football or in sports, right? And if you pay attention to all sports teams, they have their official logo with the full name of the team and the city name. Then they have the shorthand version, and then they just have the logo itself. I want to have something like that to where it's a shorthand notation of my logo. I got some prototype merch, right? I got the mug, I got the hoodie, I got the hats. So next step is distribution. How are we gonna come up? How are we gonna distribute this? So that's something else I gotta think about. A good end of the year goal would be to, I would say a good short term goal or a good medium term goal would be to have made contact with distributors and getting like rates and stuff like that to just figure out is it like, because it's a pro and a con, right? You got to look at the trade-offs with quality versus efficiency, right? Like if I get my product in-house, I might have better quality, but getting it out might not be as efficient, right? But on the flip side, if I have an efficient way of getting it out, meaning that it's, done somewhere else, like once ordered, is the quality going to be good? So I got to play around with that. I have to, research all that stuff. So that's that. What else? But nah, I like the path that Trippin with Theobold has been going on. I feel like, I have a somewhat stable product, but I have to, there's definitely ways I can improve on it. But, this is the one area where I think that I feel like I had some success in this year or this past year. So yeah, so that's that. Long-term goal down the road, like I said, long-term is to be able to eat off of this. I want to be able to plant this seed so this thing grows to where I can just pay bills with this, and just like, to where when I'm working a job is extra. This is how I make my bread. I'm a long way away from that, but hey, if you build it, it's achievable. Not sure if that's a quote, but it sounds good, so I'm gonna stick with it. What else? Talked about that. Yep. Right. And it goes back, all my goals go back to my values, right? That's one thing I didn't talk about, right? My values are, um, values are what are the values are the heading direction of success, where goals are stepping stones or steps along that trajectory. So my values, and I'll probably do another episode just to go back and reiterate them, but my values haven't changed, right? It's authenticity, creativity, independence, mindfulness, and perseverance. Those are my values. So all the goals I have are derived from that. Um, Social media. Yeah, I'm still struggling with social media. Um, I feel like I found little things to kind of play around with, but I wasn't consistent at it. You know, um, I feel like I feel like my I feel like I fell short of this too, because goal that I had, one short to medium term goal I had last year was to finish this book on 1 million followers. And I got most of the way through it, but it was like there was like there was no implementation. It was pretty much was theory, from what I got from it, So um social media goal, the my long-term goal, like I said, is I want to be able to eat off of my social media. I want to be able to um not have a post be such a big deal, like it's a production. I want it to just kind of be like, I want it to be an extension of who I am. I don't want it to be something that is overly produced, but at the same time, I want to build up my following so I can advertise myself, right? Because when I got the special coming out in a couple years, I want to make sure I have a platform to where I can advertise myself. So got some things I gotta think about. Long-term goal, like I said, I rather have 200,000 followers and subscribers across all platforms that I'm monetizing from, or that I can monetize off of, than to have 5 million followers and be the most famous person but not monetizing anything, or monetizing like 5% of that. I rather, my goal is to my goal is more market penetration, if that's the right word to use, right? It's more of what percentage of my following and my like, I don't want to make money off of people, but it's like, the way I look at it is I rather do more with less than to do less with more, if that makes sense. I want to be optimal to where I'm like, hey, I only got 200,000 followers, but I'm making this amount off of this, as opposed to having 10 million followers and making half of that, um, so I would say a good medium term goal would be to, like I said, a, I want to find a how-to book, or see, I don't like see, classes are weird, because I feel like everyone, once you get into classes and stuff, what's being sold is education. And so you gotta be careful with that, right? Like, for example, Rich Dad Poor Dad is a great book, but when you sign up for all those courses and all the games and stuff, you realize that he's selling education and not like how to actually go out and go do. It's too much theory and not enough practical. So is what it is. I gotta find something similar for that for social media. Um and I'm not gonna force it, but I want to find like my own little niche to where I can just kind of do something to where it's an extension of who I am, as opposed to trying to recreate sketches. I mean, sketches are good and all, but I want to find something where I can just do little knickknacks, right? I'm not sure what the right word is to call it, but like little knickknacks to where I'm like, oh, I do this every day anyway. Let me go and put this out there. Boom, 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 boom. Right. Following getting up. Right. And then if I have a chance to collaborate, cool, let's collaborate and go from there. Last year I had a goal, like I was gonna shoot a documentary. A goal for I am still going to shoot a documentary. My goal was to do a documentary on me being a Bills fan. But somebody else beat me out to it. Doesn't mean I still can't do it, but there's a documentary coming out called Just One Before I Die. I just found out that I could have been in it because I was actually in Buffalo when they were doing some filming. I went to the Chiefs game back in November, and the chefs are in that documentary, and they were like, yo, I think they actually brought me up, or they brought my name up in the documentary, or I think they mentioned me, and they were like, yo, if you were here, you could have just been in it, because they would have had you just go pull up, but is what it is. What I'm shooting is going to be a mockumentary, right? It's basically, I want it to be funny, but it's also like a journey of me and my struggles with being a Bills fan. So don't have a title for it yet. I downloaded a Udemy course on how to write documentaries. I watched probably like 1 or 2 lessons of it. So when I get to the mockumentary, when I get to next month, February, which is going to be when I focus on my mockumentary, that's when I'm going to look at all the resources that I have at my disposal. I'm probably going to start with that Udemy course I didn't finish, and then I need to I need to start with that course that I didn't finish, number one. Then two, I need to look around to see if there are any such things as mockumentaries out there. I think there are. And if so, I got to find them and just kind of see how they shot theirs. And then I have to look at how I'm going to shoot mine, or look at what I'm going to do for mine. But like I said, next month's focus is going to be on the mockumentary. Don't have a title for it yet, but it's going to be it's going to be a journey of how I became a Bills fan, and it's a tribute to like my family, my mom, my grandpa, my pop, just all the little things we did, man. All the little tiny things. And I even started gathering footage for this mockumentary. So it should be interesting. I'm excited to see how this turns out down the road. DraftKings goal, right? Last year I said I was going to win something with a comma in it. Nope. Didn't win shit with a comma in it. Didn't win shit with multiple zeros in it or double zeros in it. But one thing I did realize is, or that I need to be mindful of, is with DraftKings, you got to be careful, man. With DraftKings, right? You don't want to spend too much money, which I haven't spent. I haven't spent too much money. I'm very frugal when it comes to my DraftKings indulgences. But at the same time, you also got to worry about time. Like if you're analyzing data a lot or looking at the shit a lot, right? You're like, I can't spend with DraftKings. You don't want to spend too much time and you don't want to spend too much money. You want to kind of keep everything here, right? Like I want to be able to, if I hit the milli, I don't want to spend 300 hours and over $5,000 trying to get it, if that makes sense, right? If I could spend $200 and 25 minutes, getting a milli, that to me is a win, right? So to me, my goal for next year DraftKings is, like I said, is to keep, like I said, the spending part is good. Like I'm not doing nothing crazy, but time wise, I want to bring that down just a notch to where I'm like, you know what? I have an optimal way of how I go about making my picks, get it done, be over with it. and watch the data cook. So, with all that being said, lessons learned from last year, big lesson I learned was you can't do everything every day, and you can't just focus on one thing for a whole week, So I have a major focus. What I'm doing different is I have a major focus for a month, and I kind of start off with just basic planning, what I want to get done by the end of the month with this bigger goal. And then I got my other routine things that I do, right? Like as I have a very healthy stand-up regimen to where I can come up with new material pretty fast, to where I'm working it out and I'm archiving it and like filtering out what's not funny and what is. Um, Another one is I have to journal what success looks like more, because I feel like, when you get bogged down on what it is you're doing, you know, you kind of lose sight on, hey, what does success even look like? I think if you seek out what success looks like, it has no choice but to come to you, So that's that. Um, so yeah, like I said, I give myself a D, but um I did some positive things. I wanted to do more positive things, but it is what it is, It's not the end of the world. Just gotta pick up the pace and keep a smile on my face. Um, so with all that being said, AT is where it's at on most forms of social media. Make sure you guys follow me. Like I said, I'm going to a one episode. I'm not sure when I'm going to do it yet, but I want to have an episode where I just brainstorm and have what do you call it? An open think tank on ways or on a system that can mitigate fires better. Right? That's going to be an episode for down the road. Um, Not sure when that's going to be, but that's something that like is at the forefront of my mind. And yeah, thanks for tuning in. Thanks for listening to me review my goals from 2024. And that's all I got. So without further ado, I'm out of here, folks. Peace.